Hi all, welcome to another video of subject DC machines and transformers based on K2 syllabus, and we are on module 4, and today we will discuss the phasor diagram of actual transformer on load. So in the previous videos we have discussed the phasor diagram of an ideal transformer, and but here we are considering an actual transformer, a practical transformer. Okay. So, in the case of an actual transformer, both the windings, that is the primary and secondary windings of a transformer, have the finite resistances. We can call it as R1 and R2 respectively. Okay, and that resistances will cause a copper loss. Okay, and also we have to consider the leakage flux in the both the primary and secondary also. So by considering these two, we can draw the equivalent diagram of an actual transformer like this. Here you can see this is the core and this is the primary and secondary windings here, and you can see additional terms R1, X1 and R2, X2 here. Okay, so these resistances R1 and R2 is to represent the copper loss in the primary and secondary windings respectively. Okay, and also the inductances X1 and X2, these are used to represent the leakage flux in the primary and secondary windings. We know that the flux generated in the primary will not, all the flux generated in the primary will not link the all the secondary turns. Okay, there will be some leakage flux, and also the flux generated in the primary, okay, primary itself will not link all the turns in the primary, that is this part of the flux. Okay, this part of the flux is not linking with the primary turns, and also in the secondary case, in the secondary winding case, here also these outside portions, okay, these outside portions are not linking with the secondary windings. Okay, so of course there will be some leakage flux in the transformer, so we have to represent this leakage flux as leakage reactances, that is X1 and X2 here. So there will be some losses across these resistances and inductances. The induced EMF E1 will be less than the applied voltage V1, because there will be some losses in the terms in the parameters in the components R1 and X1 here, and also the induced EMF E2. Okay, E2 will be greater than the output terminal voltage V2, because some voltage drop will be there in across this R2 and X2. Okay, but in the case of ideal transformer, we have assumed that this V1, okay, V1 is equal to minus Z1, and also V2 is equal to E2, but here it's not the case. Okay, there will be some losses in the primary and also in the secondary. Okay, so we can represent the equations like this, that is V1, the applied voltage V1 will be equal to minus C1 plus I1 R1 plus J I1 X1, that is voltage drop across the components R1 and X1, and E2, secondary induced EMF E2 is equal to V2 plus I2 R2 plus J I2 X2. Okay, so using these equations we will draw the phasor diagram of an actual transformer with resistive load, inductive load and capacitive load. Okay, so next we can go for that. So initially we can discuss the case of a pure resistive load. If you are connecting a resistive load at the output of an actual transformer, what will be, how we can draw the phase diagram. Okay, so we will start with the flux phi. We know that flux phi is drawn along the x-axis, and after that we will draw the no load current I0. Okay, no load current I0. Actually the I0 is the phasor sum of the magnetizing current Im and IE, but here we are not marking that Im along the flux phi and IE in the y axis here. Okay, instead we are just marking an I0, okay, an I0 with an angle of 87 to 95, around 85 to 95 degree from this y-axis, okay, that is from this minus E1. We will draw this I0, okay, and I0 is a small current vector, okay, and after that we will draw E1, okay, E1 with a 90 degree lagging with the flux phi, that is with the magnetizing current Im. We will draw E1 here, and in exact phase opposition with the E1 we will draw minus E1, okay. But in the case of an ideal transformer, we can simply write V1 comma E1 here, and also instead of minus E1, sorry, not V1 and E1, here V1 comma minus V1. We will draw V1 and minus E1 here, okay. But here it's a case of an actual transformer, so V1 is not equal to minus E1, V1 is not equal to minus E1, and V2 is not equal to E2, that we know, okay. So after drawing this E1, we will start with V2, okay, of course V2, okay, V2 actually it is the terminal voltage, output terminal voltage, and due to some inductive effect in the windings and all, and due to the leakage reactance and all, the V2, okay, terminal voltage V2 will be lagging the corresponding voltage E2. But here we know that after drawing this E1, we know that the induced EMF E2, of course the induced EMF E2 will be in phase with E1, but we cannot draw E2 now, okay, because E2 is equal to V2 plus I2 R2 plus J into I2 X2, okay. By incorporating all these terms only, we can draw this E2, okay. But in the case of an ideal transformer, we can simply draw that E2 here, okay. But here we can't draw that E2. So after drawing this E1, we will draw this V2 here with, okay, with a 90 degree lagging, and with a small angle lagging. We will draw V2, and we are connecting a pure resistive load here, and we know that for a pure resistive load, the current, okay, current I2 will be in phase with V2, okay. So we will draw the I2 here in phase with V2. We will draw I2 here with a small amplitude. And after that we know that E2 is equal to V2 plus I2 R2 plus I2 into JX2, okay. So we are having V2 here, V2, and for representing I2 R2, always we know that I2 R2 is the copper loss across the resistance R2, okay, across resistance R2. So this losses I2 into R2 will be in phase with the corresponding current I2, okay. We know that the corresponding voltage drop, okay, voltage drop across the resistance will be in phase with the current flowing through the resistance. So here the voltage drop is I2 into R2. So it is drawn in phase with I2. So we can draw this I2 R2 from this V2, okay. With a small amplitude we will draw this I2 and R2, and after that we have to incorporate it I2 into JX2, okay. We know that it is the drop across the inductance, okay, and that drop across the inductance is always drawn with a 90 degree, okay, 90 degree phase shift with the loss across the resistances, that is loss across resistance is I2 into R2 here, and from that we can draw I2 into X2, okay, with exact 90 degree, okay, and 90 degree with I2 and R2. So we will draw I2 into X2 from this point B, okay, with 90 degree with the line AB, okay. We will draw I2 and X2, and the meeting point of this vector, okay, will represent the corresponding E2, okay. Then we can write E2 here. So for representing E2, we know that this is the equation V2 plus I2 R2 plus I2 into JX2. So we will draw V2 here, and we will draw I2 into R2 in phase with I2, okay, I2 into R2 in the same line, and I2 into X2 90 degree with that line, okay. And after that we will incorporate this equation in the phasor diagram, and for that we will draw I1 dash, okay, I1 dash in exact phase opposition with I2. So I2 is here. So we know that I1 dash is in exact phase opposition with I2, because the reason for I1 dash is I2, okay. So we can draw this I1 dash in exact phase opposition with I2. So we will draw I1 dash here, and we know that the resultant of this, okay, I0 vector, okay, I0 vector plus I1 dash vector, we will get I1, okay, I1 vector, the actual primary current I1. So I1 is the phasor sum of I1 dash and I0. So we will draw the resultant vector I1 here by using the parallelogram law. We will draw the I1 here, okay, and after that we are having the minus E1 here. For incorporating this equation, V1 is equal to minus E1 plus I1 R1 plus J into I1 X1, okay. So minus E1 is here. So we can draw this I1 into R1, okay, I1 into R1. I1 into R1 is the drop across the resistance R1. We know that the voltage drop across the resistance R1 will be in phase with the corresponding current I1. So here the corresponding current is I1. So I1 is down here, okay. So we can draw this I1 into R1 parallel to this I1, okay. From this minus E1 we can draw this I1 into R1 parallel with the current vector I1. So we'll draw I1 into R1 with a small amplitude here, and from that we can draw this I1 into X1 with a 90 degree from this I1 into R1, because I1 into X1 is the drop, voltage drop across the inductance X1, okay. So likewise here, okay, as in the case of a secondary, we here also we can draw this I1 into X1 in exact 90 degree with the I1 into R1 line. So we will draw I1 into X1 with a 90 degree, okay, 90 degree, and we will draw this vector, okay, and we can stop drawing that vector at some point here, okay, and the resultant, okay, and the resultant vector will give the V1 here, okay. Actually V1 is equal to minus E1 plus I1 into R1 into J into I1 into X1, okay. So here V1, this is the V1 vector. V1 is equal to phasor sum of minus E1 plus I1 into R1 plus I1 into X1. So this is the case for a pure resistive load. So likewise we can draw the inductive and capacitive load also, okay. So this is the case of an inductive load. Here the only difference is, all others are same, the only difference is the current in the secondary I2 will lag behind the voltage V2. In the previous case V2 and I2 are in phase because it is a resistive load, but here in the case of an inductive load, I2 will lag behind V2, okay. So after drawing V2 we can draw I2 with a small angle phi 2, okay, lagging by a small angle phi 2, okay. All others are same. We will draw flux phi, I0 here, and E1 here, minus E1 here, and after that we will draw V2 here, and after that we have to draw I2 with a small angle lagging from phi 2, lagging from this V2. So I2 will draw here, and after that, for incorporating the equation for E2, this equation we know that V2 plus I2 into R2. So I2 into R2, always this drop I2 into R2 will be in phase with the corresponding current I2. So here I2 is this one, okay. So we can draw I2 into R2 from this V2 parallel with the current I2, okay, parallel with the current I2, okay. Parallel means it is in phase, okay, it is in phase. So I2 into R2, and from that we can draw I2 into X2 with a 90 degree from this I2 into R2, okay, and the meeting point we will get E2, okay. And after that we will extend this I2 for getting this I1 dash. I1 dash will be exact phase opposition with I2, and we will get the I1 dash here, and resultant of I0 and I1 dash we will get I1. And for interpreting the primary equation, this equation, we know that the minus E1 plus I1 R1. So I1 into R1 we can draw from minus E1. I1 into R1 will be in phase with the current I1. So we can draw a parallel line, okay, parallel line with I1. So I1 into R1 will be parallel with I1, and from that the I1 into X1 will be 90 degree from this I1 into R1, okay. And we can stop the vector at some point here, and we can draw the V1, okay. So this is the phasor diagram for an inductive load, okay. And this is the case of a capacity load. So in the case of a capacity load, the only difference is after drawing this V2, we have to draw the current I2 leading with the voltage V2. That is, the secondary current I2 will leads the voltage V2 here. So we have to draw this I2 here, okay, leading by an angle phi 2 from V2. Okay, and after drawing this I2, okay, we can draw this I2 into R2. Okay, for interpreting this equation, E2 is equal to V2 plus I2 R2 plus J I2 X2. For getting that, we can draw this I2 R2 from V2. It is always drawn in phase with I2. So I2 is here. So we have to draw a parallel line I2 R2 here. Okay, parallel line in phase with I2. Okay, so we will get I2 R2 like this, and from that we have to draw a line 90 degree with I2 into R2 for getting I2 into X2. So I2 into X2 is drawn with 90 degree. Okay, 90 degree from this I2 into R2, and the meeting point we will get E2. Okay, and after that we have to extend this I2 into I1 dash. So this is I1 dash, and the resultant of this I1 dash and I0, okay, resultant of I1 dash and I0, we will get I1. Okay, and for incorporating the primary equation, we know that minus C1 plus I1 R1. So for getting this I1 R1 line, okay, I1 R1 line, this I1 R1 is the voltage drop across R1, so it is in phase with I1. So I1 is this line, this one. So you can draw an I1 R1 in phase with I1, that is drawing a parallel line from minus C1. Okay, we will get I1 R1, and we can stop that I1 R1 at some point, and from that we can draw a line 90 degree with this I1 and R1. Okay, that is I1 index, I1 X1. Okay, we will get that I1 into X1 by drawing a line 90 degree with this I1 into R1, and also the resultant of this minus C1, I1 into R1, I1 into X1, we will get V1. Okay, so this is the phasor diagram of a capacitive load, actual transformer with a capacitive load. I hope all of you understand the phasor diagram well. So thank you.